Hola, soy yo, Vicky, otra vez. First of all, I just want to apologize for not having done any YouTube videos for quite some time, not even my Español con Cava on Saturday night. And the reason for that is if I have been finishing off the book for teaching English with explanations in Spanish. And the good news is it is finished and it will be out for sale within the next week. I'll say it's finished. A few little things that I've got to do and upload it, design the cover, etc. But basically the book itself is finished. So it's taken over my whole life because when you sort of get the inspiration, you just have to go with it because you don't know when it might just disappear, and then it could be months before I finish it off. So that's the reason why I haven't done any YouTube videos. I hope you're all well. I hope you've been practicing Spanish. And the good news, if you live in Spain anyway, for those of us that live in Spain, we are on the de escalada. So we've started phase 0 of the de escalada this week. So, gradually we will get back to what they're calling la nueva normalidad, the new normality, over an 8-week period, providing everything goes okay. If the figures stay the same and there's not another spike in cases, that's the plan. So I just hope people don't sort of go mad, because obviously we're all glad to be having a little bit of freedom with our exercise, etc. But we still do have to be careful because I don't know if you ever watch the Spanish news, but it's very good to watch. President Sanchez, I think he's great, and whenever you see him talking afterwards, you really feel positive. And he says the virus hasn't gone away. We just have to learn to live with it and control it, because until there's a vaccination, it won't be completely eradicated. Anyway, lucky for us in La Comunidad Valenciana, if you're living in this area, we haven't had a lot of the virus in comparison with other parts of Spain, but still a significant amount of people have died. So our hearts go out to all their friends and family. But dedos cruzados, estamos viendo la luz. We're seeing the light. That's what President Sanchez says. So, okay, sorry, I'm waffling on again, as usual. Another thing I want to say is I've started doing Zoom group classes, which start from €6 an hour. The price depends on how many hours you book in for. And they are starting not next Monday, but the Monday after. So if you're interested in doing some group classes on Zoom, Zoom is very easy. Anyone who books in, we will have a sort of a short test class, just so that you know what you're doing and how to log on, etc. But believe me, I'm not brilliant with computers. It's very easy program, and it's the next best thing to classes, because although technically from next week maybe I could do some face-to-face classes, but there's so many restrictions on how many people you can have, and then will people feel confident enough to come along and sit in a room with a lot of other people, and it's difficult to keep the social distancing. Because although I can sit the students separately, I will be going around each student, of course, or Liz, the other teacher. So I think at the moment we'll just see how things go, and try the Zoom classes, and then in the hopefully not too distant future we can get back to La Nueva Normalidad. Okay, so today, if you have the book, as usual, we are in Break the Language Barrier Level 3. If you don't have the book but you'd like to buy the book, you can get it on any Amazon site. If you live locally, I have some copies that I can get to you now. So just let me know if you are interested in buying the book. Anyway, You don't need the book because I'm going to explain to you what we're doing anyway. But for those of you who do have the book and like to follow it in the book, we're on page 20. Página 20, vamos a mirar condicional, the conditional. So what is the conditional? Because of course we have to realise what it is in English first before we can start putting it into Spanish. Well, the conditional basically is something you would do. Yeah, now we've just done the future tense with the will, what we will do. In English, we make the conditional by using would. I would go on holiday, but there's a lockdown. Or I would buy a car, but I don't have enough money. Anything you would do. Now, what we have to remember in English as well, well, the negative is wouldn't, would not or wouldn't. So I would buy a car, or I would not or wouldn't buy a car. The other thing we do in English, which believe me, after writing this book for people learning English with explanations in Spanish, don't ever think that English is easy, because it isn't. Because in English also we say things like, we shorten it and we'll say, oh, I'd buy a car. I apostrophe D, buy a car. You know, so we don't always say it in full. So we've got lots of different ways. I think that's why sometimes in English we don't really think we're using verbs, because sometimes they're so contracted. We think, well, where's the verb in that? You know, so anyway. So it's would for the positive, would not or wouldn't for the negative. Okay? So I wouldn't buy a car. Yeah, so there's normally a condition attached to this tense, which is why it's called a conditional. Okay, so the good news about it is in Spanish it's so easy. So it's again like the future tense, where we took the infinitive and added on different endings for the future tense to say what we will do, which again, remember with will, we often say I'll. I apostrophe LL. We don't always say I will. You know, so it is really quite difficult English. I've really come to realise it doing the book. But anyway, so these are our endings for the conditional. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. All with accents. Okay, so if you were saying, well, I would speak to him, yeah, say hablaría con él, because you always speak with someone in Spanish. If you were saying I wouldn't speak to him, you would say no hablaría con él. Okay, so it's really quite straightforward in Spanish. The thing about Spanish, once we sort of click how the language works, we can see that relatively it's easier than a lot of languages. Anyway, so we're going to look at the example sentences using the regular verbs. Now, the other good news is, I will do a separate video on the irregular verbs, but the irregular verbs are the same as the ones in the future tense. So the irregular stems that you learnt when you were doing the future tense. So yeah, by the way, although you don't need the book to follow these tutorials, you do need to have done past tenses and future tenses, because that's the point that we're at now, doing the conditional. So if when I'm talking about the future tense you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, then you need to look back through the videos and find the video on the future tenses, because otherwise these, as we go along, won't make sense to you. Okay, so we're in practice A on page 20 in the book, and we're going to look at the first sentence, which I would eat the biscuits, but I'm on a diet. That is not something probably that I would ever say. I would just eat them, I'm afraid. So especially during this lockdown. So I would eat the biscuits. So the verb to eat is comer, and I would eat is comería. Las galletas, the biscuits. But I am on a diet. There are probably various ways you could say that. Pero estoy de régimen. Or you could use dieta. Estoy de dieta. Anyway, if you've come up with a different way of saying it that you're not sure about, you can always ask me in the comments. Okay, so comería las galletas, pero estoy de régimen. Okay, number 2, would you marry him? So, to marry is casarse, it's reflexive. So it's te casarías con él, ¿vale? And if it was her, it'd be con ella. Oh gosh, I can't see a thing. Where would yous go? So the plural you. So we're taking the verb ir. It's regular in this tense. ¿A dónde iráis? Okay. And then they wouldn't live in that house because it's too small. See, a bit like the writing in the book. No, it's because I'm in the house and I do have the blinds down a bit because, you know, I don't know if people can hear, so I don't like to disturb people because they might still be in bed because if they're not going to work. So that's why I can't see very well. Okay, they wouldn't live in that house because it's too small. So no vivirían en esa casa porque es demasiada pequeña. Okay. Number 5, would you deliver the books to our house? Vale, so to deliver is entregar. Or you can also use repartir. So either of those two would do. I'm going to use entregar because I think that's what they tend to use in the shops, etc. So, entregarías los libros a nuestra casa. Okay, número 6. Yous would be my students. So plural you. The verb to be for student is ser that we'll be using because it's counted as a profession. So seríais mis estudiantes. Number 7, they would, sorry, I can't read that. They would lose it. Vale. So it is lo perderían, sorry. Lo perderían. Okay, I think I need some kava. I can't speak this morning. Okay. We would sing a song, but we have a cold. So, cantar, to sing. Cantaríamos una canción, pero estamos resfriados. Okay. Número 9. I'd get up, but I'm too comfortable. So, to get up is levantarse. Me levantaría, pero estoy demasiado cómoda. So we use estar with comfortable when you're, because it's how you feel when you're feeling comfortable. If you're describing something as comfortable, you would use ser. So many years ago, my Spanish teacher explained that to me. I thought quite well when she was saying that you would say mis zapatos son cómodos. My shoes are comfortable because that's characteristic. Pero estoy cómoda en mis zapatos. But I am comfortable in my shoes because that's a feeling. So I thought that was a good explanation. So I hope it helps. Oh gosh. Can't see. They know that you would give them the money tomorrow. Oh, sorry, I'll have to lift the blind up a bit more next time. So they know that you would give them the money tomorrow is they know, saben que. And then you would give them. So we're going to use a pronoun there. We're going to use les, indirect object pronoun. Saben que les darías that you would give el dinero mañana. Why would anybody eat that? So, ¿por qué comería alguien eso? Because we don't know what it is, we can't give it a gender. So, ¿por qué comería alguien eso? Why would anyone eat that? Why wouldn't I go to bed at that time? So, to go to bed is acostarse. So, ¿por qué no me acostaría a esa hora? At that time, ¿vale? So, why wouldn't I go to bed? ¿Por qué no me acostaría a esa hora? You wouldn't play the piano in front of all those people. So, to play as in an instrument is tocar. So, no tocarías, you wouldn't play el piano. In front of is delante de. So, no tocarías el piano delante de. All those people is toda esa gente. Or todas esas personas. So you can either, if you use gente, a singular feminine, or if you use personas, it's plural feminine. Okay, they wouldn't pay much for the house. Okay, so pagar is to pay. So no pagarían, because it's they wouldn't pay. No pagarían mucho para. No, I think I'd use a por there because it's exchange or trade. So no pagarían mucho por la casa. Now, very soon we're coming up to por and para, and when we arrive at it, you'll realise why sometimes in class students will say, well, can you just tell me what's the difference between por and para? And the answer is normally, well, no, not really, because it takes quite a long time. It's like ser and estar. But one of the times when we always use por is for exchange and trade, and I think that will fit here. So, no pagaría mucho por la casa. He wouldn't go to bed before 11. So again, we've got the verb to go to bed, which is acostarse. So, no se acostaría antes de las 11. And the last one, I think, yeah, número 16. I wouldn't have a bath in the summer. I can't even remember the last time I had a bath, I'm afraid. But anyway, sorry. So the verb to bath or bathe is bañarse. So you would say, no me bañaría en el verano. Now, it's difficult, that one, because that could be, I wouldn't bathe myself like in the sea, you know, which, so it's not just having a bath. Now, if you want to say it like we do in English, in that, you know, have a bath, you would not use tener, you would use tomar, you would take a bath. So you could say, no tomaría un baño, in verano, but it does sound funny, to be honest. So I would stick with the reflexive verb bañarse. Okay, so that's the regular conditional. So all the same verbs that are regular with the future, with the will, are regular in the conditional, which means that all the verbs that are irregular in the future tense are also irregular in the conditional, and that's what we'll be looking at in the next video. So yes, so the book for learning English will be out soon. If you know anybody who wants to learn English with explanations in Spanish, maybe if you don't mind, you wouldn't mind telling them about that, because if you do have, it's exactly the same format, if you like, as the Break the Language Barrier books to learn Spanish. So I think it's quite an easy format to follow. We'll find out. Let's see. I hope so. It will be called Romper la barrera del idioma. It doesn't roll off the tongue, does it? Hopefully for a Spanish person it will. Because, of course, break the language barrier just feels like quite an easy thing. But it's romper la barrera del idioma nivel uno. Anyway, so yeah, I hope you're all enjoying your new freedoms, and I hope that it all goes to plan, and from next week we get even more freedoms, because I think from next week we can actually go and visit friends and sit out on the terrace with them and things like that, and the restaurants and bars will be opening to 50% capacity if they can do that. Of course, that's a difficult one because it costs money to open a restaurant or a bar, so they need a certain number of people in there. But they're all good signs anyway. So if you've enjoyed the video or if you found it useful, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I have nearly 300 subscribers now, which is just so fantastic. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed or given me a thumbs up. I appreciate every single one. I really do. It gives me, especially through this lockdown, and that, you know, it's been nice to know that people are enjoying the videos, and hopefully it's helping them along the way with their journey. El viaje del español. And yeah, if you want to see more videos, please subscribe if you haven't done already, and te veo en el próximo video. Vale, muchas gracias a todos. Adiós.